Yeah, more like this, please. Plane is a brand new 2023 action film directed by Jean-Francois Richet, and it stars Gerard Butler and Mike Coulter. And I really didn't know what to expect going into this movie because the trailers didn't really show me a whole bunch. I was getting, you know, Taken sort of vibes with it. And so I went and saw it, and yeah, this is a nice little throwback to 90s action thrillers. So let's go ahead and get started with this review, starting off with the good. And really, what the best part about this movie is the acting from the two leads. First of all, you got Gerard Butler as this pilot who's forced to make this emergency landing on a island out in the Philippines region, I believe it was. And he's trying to find a way to make contact with the airline company and get them out of there. And he does a really good job. He doesn't really have a whole bunch of action scenes in this movie, but he's still really good. He's really good at roles like this. I love Gerard Butler. And then you have Mike Coulter as a convict who just happens to be on the flight, and he ends up helping Gerard Butler with the situation. Once the passengers are taken hostage, they go in to rescue them, and he really kicks ass. Gerard Butler doesn't get a whole bunch of action, but Mike Coulter is really the MVP in this movie, and he's really great. I love Mike Coulter. He's a great actor. I loved him as Luke Cage. I really hope the MCU brings him back, since they brought back Charlie Cox as Daredevil. The story of this movie is very familiar. It's your typical 90s themed action thriller. It's nothing original, but it's still really fun and enjoyable, so I have to give it that. I've heard people say this, and I kind of agree. This seems like a movie that was written in the 90s and meant to star Arnold Schwarzenegger, but they forgot to film it for some reason, so all these years later they found the script and they're like, well, I don't know if Arnold's going to go for it. Let's just get Gerard Butler because he's doing all these 90s throwback action thrillers. And yeah, it really does feel like that. But it just works for me with Gerard Butler and Mike Coulter. And then, like I said, you have the action, and it's really relegated to the third act, but the action's really a lot of fun. It's much more grounded than I expected it to be. Grounded in the movie's called Plane. That's hilarious. Either way. So that's about all for the good. Let's go on to the bad, and there's a couple things. First of all, with the action being relegated mainly to the third act, I wanted a little more. It feels like the situation was dealt with a little too quickly by the time it gets going, because the first half of it is just people sitting around talking about the plane crash, and then half of the second half is the passengers getting abducted, and then for about 15 minutes we get the action. I feel like there should have been a little more action in my opinion, but it was still a lot of fun. And then there's the whole thing with Gerard Butler not getting a whole bunch to do. I just kind of wish he was given more to do in the action sense of this film. But that's about all for the bad. On to the final thoughts. Plane was a lot of fun. I loved it. I will probably be buying it on Blu-ray. Plane was a fun throwback to early 90s action thrillers, and I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. So those are my thoughts on Plane. Have you seen this movie? What did you think about it? If you have, let me know down in the comments. As always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.